Correspondent Fraser Jackson. Fraser, since October the 7th, the U.S. has continually supplied weapons to Israel, has been squarely behind the Jewish state. You heard that little clip there in that report of Benjamin Netanyahu. Is this the time when the Biden administration and Netanyahu are on a collision course?
Well, we've thought this time might be coming multiple times over the course of the last few months, but the two do seem to be growing more and more fractious in their relationship between Netanyahu and Biden. Of course, it was just over a month ago that they had that fiery phone call during which Biden almost effectively threatened to condition U.S. aid to Israel. And that was really quite a big step. And it was at that point that we saw the opening of, the port at Ashdod getting more aid in. And of course, the Erez crossing in the north of the Gaza Strip as well. That all came online in the wake of that phone call. This phone call that happened on Monday was not scheduled. And then when we got the readouts of it, it was a bit bizarre, because the first chunk of the readout said that the call focused on Holocaust Remembrance Day. Of course, we heard that speech by Netanyahu on Sunday. Joe Biden is speaking at a Holocaust event on Tuesday. But the very bit that people were keeping an eye out for, the Rafah operation, was crowbarred in at the end within two sentences. And it read, quote, "The Prime Minister agreed to ensure the Kerem Shalom crossing is open for humanitarian assistance for those in need." That is because that crossing between Egypt, the Egyptian border with Israel and Gaza as well, had been closed on Sunday in the wake of a rocket attack by Hamas that killed 4 Israeli soldiers. But Netanyahu said that he will reopen that to get more aid in. And then the last bit, the very last sentence of that readout, simply, the president reiterated his clear position on Rafah. So the White House being very tight-lipped about the latest escalations and the latest threats from Netanyahu. And of course, the developments that we are now seeing, thousands of Palestinians being told to move to that area further west on the coast. And to be honest, it seems like potentially a bit of a turning point, because when I talked to some government sources just a few days ago, they thought that this could potentially be part of Netanyahu's negotiations tactics, but it seems that that has now gone beyond that, and Netanyahu has now started the early steps of trying to organize this movement of people so that an operation can take place in the town of Rafah. That, again, against the U.S. wishes. Anthony Blinken on Wednesday spoke to Netanyahu, had a very candid discussion, and said that any operation there without a credible humanitarian plan could negatively impact U.S.-Israel relationships. And that is something that is quite stark messaging, considering where we were just a few months ago in October.
Yeah, and it's a topic that's going to continue to dominate the day where you are, not just because Columbia University's canceled its in-person graduation ceremony over the divide they've had on campus there, but also because the King of Jordan is having a private lunch at the White House.
Yes, Joe Biden has a bit of a busy schedule on Monday. King Abdullah is coming to the White House to have a private, behind-closed-doors lunch with Joe Biden. Of course, this Israel-Gaza situation is going to be the main topic of discussion, no doubt. And the press briefing, which was meant to happen while that lunch was taking place, has now been pushed back by a few hours, which will mean that John Kirby, the spokesperson for the National Security Council, is now going to come and join. So we're expecting to hear more details about what happened on that call between Netanyahu and Biden, and try to push the administration for a bit more information, because again, their position was very clear. They didn't want anything to go ahead without a credible plan, and now it appears that they have been shown a preliminary plan, which was what we heard on Friday from government sources, but they at that time were under the illusion that this was not a finalized plan and that it wouldn't be going ahead anytime soon, although the Israeli government said that they would be going ahead soon. But of course, this is a really soured negotiation talks with Hamas. Things stalled on Sunday, with Hamas saying that Netanyahu is under the illusion that a threat to invade Rafah will put pressure on Hamas, but it will only lead to the collapse of the hostage deal talks. Now, the US is trying to revive those, of course, and the CIA director, Bill Burns, is in the region at the moment, in Qatar, and then heading to Israel to discuss more with Netanyahu. So things really potentially hanging by a thread here as we try to thread this needle, in the words in the eye of Joe Biden.
Many thanks for that. Fraser Jackson reporting live from Washington.